Let me show you the future. Picture this. You've just stepped off the subway. You're taking these flight of stairs to leave the underground, and when you get to the top, you take a moment to pause and you look up. You see the skyscrapers, the holograms, the advertisements, the flying cars, the drones, the bright neon lights. You hear the footsteps of people walking by, immersed in their own world, talking to themselves. You see the robots driving the cars, serving your drinks, serving your food, and you can't help but wonder, what has the world come to? But let me pause for a moment. How did we even get here? It's 2025, and on paper everything looks normal. People are still going to cafes, they're still socializing, they're still going to work, but something just feels off. Everyone is addicted to their phone, scrolling, watching, escaping, and recently mankind introduced a new piece of technology called AI. It's in our phones, it's in our jobs, it's in our content, it's almost everywhere, but it's still very early. However, we aren't too far away from the inflection point. 2040, we crack it. Artificial superintelligence, or in shorter terms, ASI. Mankind's first invention that yields infinite leverage. Something so smart that without any context could find the cure to cancer in less than a day. In fact, that's exactly what happens. It cures all possible diseases. Dementia, cancer, Ebola, everything you could think of, completely gone. It leads to faster developments, faster innovations, and faster inventions. Millions of jobs are no longer needed. No more tech support, no more bricklayers, no more farmers. Everything is taken care of by ASI. We are officially on the exponential curve towards utopia. But something happened along the way. It didn't quite go to plan. Fast forward, and here we are. Not in the future that we imagined, but in the future that we built.
No, this can't be real, Jay. Wait, am I even real?
The truth is, the future that I've just painted, we don't know when we'll reach it. The only reason why I chose the year 2049 is, number one, I think it's a cool year, and number two, it was inspired by the film Blade Runner 2049, which I'd highly recommend you give a watch. And the reason why we don't know when is because if or when we introduce ASI into society, we don't know how fast the world will change when it is introduced. If you think about where we were 10,000 years ago, lighting fires in caves, to 1,000 years ago, blacksmiths creating steel swords in forges, to just over 100 years ago, we learned how to fly, and then just over 50 years ago, we took a rocket to the moon, and then 20 years ago, the birth of the internet, and then 3 years ago, the birth of AI. The rate of development has been unprecedented. And the thing is, our brains haven't changed that much over the last 1,000 and the last 10,000 years. Our intelligence hasn't increased by that much. So how have we made such rapid changes in civilization? Well, there are definitely many factors: nutrition, energy, larger population, many factors of course, but one of the biggest things is due to the compounding effect. For example, you might be watching this video on your phone right now, but you don't know how the light is being emitted from the screen. You probably don't know how the audio is working or how all the buttons are fitting together. You just know how to turn on your phone and how to operate it. You also don't need to know how your aircon works or how your light works, because someone else has already figured that out for you. Someone already invented the light bulb. In fact, it was Thomas Edison. Someone already created the roads. You don't need to know all of these things inside and out. And when you take the culmination of all these different inventions, what you're doing is you're enabling the next generation to have a better foundation, a better set of tools to be able to create more impactful things for society in the future, where they don't have to worry about where they're going to find food or where they're going to get some shelter. And along the way, the printing press, the internet, AI, all of these things have sped up the way in which we can learn, and thus sped up the way in which we can create new things. And if we keep going at this rate, even if we didn't have AI, we'd still be on that exponential curve, because the compounding effect of everything we've built before us is only growing and growing and growing, making it faster and faster for us to create new things. However, there's a big but, which is what happens when you introduce something that is 1,000 times smarter than us. While you're there trying to put together your 3x3 Rubik's Cube, you have something else which is solving 1,000 9x9 Rubik's Cubes all at the same time simultaneously, and has also done it in under 10 seconds. That can remember everything that's ever been written since the dawn of human time. Every single invention ever made, everything that's happened in history, our biology, the laws of physics, the list goes on. And that is why we have no idea when, because we have no idea how quickly things can change when we introduce something that is so much smarter than us. So what will AI do by 2049? Or whenever this future scenario may be? Well, firstly, I can't predict the future, but I've spent over 3,000 hours using AI to create content, to write software on pretty much a daily basis for the past 3 years, and all I can offer you is my perspective. Firstly, we won't just be living with other people. Every single household chore that you currently do, you won't need to do anymore, because a robot programmed by an AI will be doing it for you. They'll be cleaning your house, building skyscrapers, teaching classes in school, driving cars, and they'll all be run by AI. You probably won't ever have to worry about getting ill, about getting cancer, dementia, any disease you can think of, because there'll be a cure for it. And even if you got a new disease that came out of nowhere for whatever reason, ASI would be able to solve and find the cure for that in probably less than a day. You may also be having a kid, and before the child is born, you can get a screening of what they're going to be like, their hair color, their height, what they're going to look like, and if they have any disabilities, you could probably edit them out. You could probably engineer those out, because the technology would have been created by an ASI for you to do that. You probably won't have to work for money. There may be a universal income that is given to every single person. There'll obviously always be ways to gain more of the currency, whatever it may be in the future. Maybe it's in time, maybe it's in social credits. We have no idea what the future could hold. Oh yeah, and the internet is going to evolve. If you really think about it, right now, even though it's great, if you want to go on the internet, you have to pull out your phone or go on your laptop and type whatever you want to type, and then boom, you get the piece of information that you'd like. But this can be very inefficient. And in the future, you'll probably interact with the internet on a 3D level in some form of interface, whether it be through glasses, which is a lot less immersive than, for example, a chip, which could be put in your head, and you'll seamlessly be able to go into the cloud and interact with this new metaverse. Anyways, that's enough. The thought of never cleaning your kitchen sounds great, but then the thought of having a 3D internet with maybe a chip in your head, maybe not so much. However, these are just a few examples, and none of them are set in stone. These are all just ideas and extrapolations based on where things are moving right now. Just because we can, should we? The truth is, we can't really stop the advancements of technology. And although some of these things sound great, like never having to worry about mowing your lawn or washing your car, and never have to worry about getting a certain disease because there'll be a cure for it, some of the other things like the 3D metaverse might lead to a world where we're even more disconnected, even though it seems like we are connected. And this is what happened with social media. The promise was to make a more connected world, and in some ways it is, but in other ways it isn't. Right now I'm talking to a camera and you're watching this on a device somewhere. But there's always hope. We can adapt, we can learn to use AI to build some of the best things that the world has never seen before, And I do think it will be a net positive for society, but it's going to be a bit of a curve in terms of how to adapt to the new world when it comes. And who knows, maybe some of these things like the 3D metaverse, maybe we won't want them. Maybe we'll go back to the way things were, to lighting fires in a campfire and just talking about life and looking at the stars and not really worrying too much about what's going to happen in the future. Because the future I showed you is just one possibility. We might use AI to explore the galaxy. We might use AI to create a utopia. Or AI might try to destroy us like in Terminator, but hopefully that doesn't happen. But we're not there yet. We're still here where AI is still evolving, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future as it evolves. But what I'll leave you with is a quote that I heard from Elon Musk, which is, "The most entertaining outcome is always the most likely." That's been J.AI. Thanks for watching if you still are. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.